I'm going to start with something that happened on Friday after PFT Live went off the air. The NFL sent a memo to all teams crowing about a victory in a grievance that was filed last year aimed at stopping the very effective and entertaining annual NFLPA report cards. Those began in 2023, typically released at the Scouting Combine with a press conference and insights with methods that were for some the subject of debate. But regardless, it's the only thing that anyone has ever had that creates real accountability for the teams, real feedback for the teams. And we saw how different teams reacted. Some teams, the ones that get it, took the criticism contained in the report cards to heart, like the Broncos. If we need to make improvements based upon the input of our players, we'll do it. Other teams don't like the scrutiny, don't like the criticism, so attack the messenger, attack the message, and ultimately try to defeat the process. And that's what the NFL tried to do. The grievance arose under two separate provisions of the collective bargaining agreement. I'm going to start with Article 39. Article 39 contemplates that the NFL and the NFLPA will do a joint survey at least once every 3 years of the players. The NFL's argument, in a nutshell, was that we already have a system for doing a survey. And the NFLPA doing their own undermines and dilutes because, how many surveys can the players respond to? We need them to focus on the Article 39 survey that is done at least once every 3 years. We can't have any other surveys. Union can't do their own. They have to lock arms with us, the league, and do a survey at least once every 3 years. The biggest flaw in the NFL's argument was, and this comes from the 26-page ruling in the arbitration claim, that the NFLPA has been wanting to do one since 2015, and the NFL has refused. Now, I'm sure the NFL would have its own version of the events, but that's the message that came through in the final ruling. NFLPA has wanted to do it. NFL hasn't since 2015, so there's no problem with the NFLPA doing their own. And even beyond that, the arbitrator found that the argument from the league was not persuasive, that the union can't do their own survey and report cards as it relates to the 32 teams. So even though the memo that the league sent to the teams creates the false impression that they won, and when you read the first paragraph of the memo that the league distributed to multiple members of the media and some put in full on Twitter, it felt like a total victory when you read it. Now, when you got deeper into it, it's like maybe they didn't get a total victory. The truth is they didn't. If anything, they got a hollow victory because the union can still make the report cards. Under Article 39, the attack at the very essence of this annual survey by the union, that lost, period. The NFL whiffed. It was a swing and a miss. Now, the other side of it, this came from Article 51 of the collective bargaining agreement. The NFL prevailed as it relates to this mutual obligation of labor and management as codified in the CBA to curtail criticism, public criticism of each other. And specifically for these purposes, the NFL said, look, by creating these report cards and giving the players a blank check to complain about anything they want to complain about as it relates to the teams, as it relates to the owners, as it relates to other employees of the organization, it violated Article 51. Thou shalt not publicly complain, or at least you have to make reasonable efforts to curtail public criticism. So the NFL won on that point. Here's the end result, though, and this is why I call it a hollow victory. The report cards are still going to be created, and they're going to be given to the players. And the members of the union, a couple thousand, maybe more. It's not just the players currently in the league. It's players who aren't employed but are still eligible for union membership because they're trying to become employed. That document's going to go out to many, many, many players. It only takes one to come up with a way to get the document to someone in the media who will then, if that person is willing to fulfill his or her obligation to the audience, blast it out there for everyone to see. This falls squarely within the universe of the stuff they don't want us to know about. And it's a small universe. Again, 98% of the stuff that you see, breaking news, it's stuff they're going to announce in 5 minutes anyway, and or that they otherwise either want us to know or aren't really bothered if we find out about it. As it relates to these report cards, they don't want us to know. And we will. One way or the other, we will. I'll try to get them. I'm sure my friend Pablo Toure will try to get them. Others will make it a priority to get them. And it's got a different feel now to it. It's got that forbidden fruit quality. They moved the needle as it was. And our first reaction at PFT when the NFL announced and overstated its victory, well, there went some good annual content that was very revealing about the way these teams operate and about how the players feel. Well, no, it's not gone. If anything, it's enhanced. The players will be galvanized. We already saw reaction on social media from guys like J.J. Watt, who was in the union, Cam Jordan, who is. Players are pissed. They feel like they're being silenced by the league, by owners who don't like to be criticized. People with money and power don't like other people calling them out. And the NFL thought they came up with a silver bullet to stifle that criticism. The reality is the criticism still exists. It will still be documented in the form of the report cards. And now it's just a question of one member of the union out of thousands to slip it under the door however they see fit, whatever it takes to cover their tracks. It's going to be impossible for the NFL to figure out where the leak came from. Now, do I put it past them trying to muster an effort to track down the leak? Well, I hope they use some of that same energy to track down whoever leaked the John Gruden emails during the 2021 season, which resulted in him exiting his job as Raiders head coach during the season, undermining the integrity of the entire season. So use that same energy there, NFL, if you're going to try to track down the leaker inevitable of the NFLPA report cards. But that's where we are, and that's where it's going. The players are going to be more motivated to respond. They're going to be motivated to get the word out there because they know it bothers the owners. And it does. It does. It bothers the ones who aren't doing a good job of running their teams and who, in lieu of trying to improve, would rather just pull the plug on any effort to point the finger at what they're doing improperly. And one of the interesting twists in all of this, we wrote about it on Monday morning at PFT. A footnote in the opinion pointed out one of the arguments made in the hearing. Hey, the owners criticized players too. And even though there were no specific examples given in the ruling, you don't need to look very far. Remember in October, Woody Johnson, the Jets owner, calling out, criticizing publicly quarterback Justin Fields? And then more recently, Bills owner Terry Pegula, in a roundabout way, calling receiver Keon Coleman a bust because one of the issues in the decision to fire Sean McDermott and promote GM Brandon Beane, well, Beane's the one that drafted this guy who was inactive, healthy, scratch, multiple games last year, hasn't lived up to the potential. Pegula stepped in and said, well. That was the coaching staff that wanted Keon Coleman. So what the players need to do moving forward, anytime any one of them is publicly criticized by an owner, a GM, a coach, anyone from the team, file a grievance. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. The NFL started this. They pulled the pin on this grenade. So any and all public criticism by anyone connected to an NFL team should now result in an immediate Article 51 grievance, period. So that's what the NFL has gotten out of this. An empty win that doesn't end the report cards, that only will make the players more determined to participate. And the ruling notes that 80% of the players responded to this year's survey, highest ever. It'll be closer to 100 next time. So the NFL has found a problem, made it worse, and at the same time swung the door open on grievances to be filed against it in the event, inevitable possibly, that owners, coaches, GMs publicly criticize players. So that's where we are. Now, we'll see what happens next, because this may become one of the things that the league views as a non-negotiable at the bargaining table whenever they convene with the next executive director of the NFLPA, and the NFL may want this to go away. They may want language in there that is stronger, that prevents the report cards. And the question becomes, what are you going to give up to get it? Because it's now clear the owners don't like it. So if they want it to go away, they're going to have to give something up. And embedded within that question is how many owners truly don't like it. There was reporting when the grievance was first filed that this comes from a small handful of loud owners who don't like being criticized. They insisted that this grievance be filed. And the ones who don't care, all right, go ahead, have fun, knock yourself out. You do you. If they try now, that minority, that vocal minority of owners who don't like the report cards, to legislate away the report cards as part of the next CBA, some of the other owners may say, no, we're not paying the price for your dysfunction. We're not giving the union some significant concession so you can hide and not be criticized in these report cards. But it's not over. The 2026 report cards, if history holds, they'll be released at or about the time of the scouting combine, at the latest when the union has its annual meeting in March, and all it takes is one. And I'm easy to find. Anyone out there, Florio at profootballtalk.com. All inquiries anonymous. I'll protect your identity. I'll go to jail if I have to, if I'm put on the witness stand and forced to give up my source. Part of me would kind of like to do that once, to be forced to give up a source and say no. And I don't know, it's free food. Probably not very good, but what the hell? Can do some push-ups and sit-ups and chill for a week or so and read a few books, write a few books, and get back to it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.